Mics are going live.
Mics are live.
Mics are live.
Mics are live.
Mics are live. Look at you with a shiny silver phone.
Yeah.
Been a while since they made an iPhone in Chrome, man.
30.
Got an ad for stamps.com today.
Mm-hmm.
This is Penn Sunday School, and to our listening ears,
Wow!
Yeah!
sings and round us rings the music of the spheres. This is Penn Sunday School.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Penn Sunday School, starring Penn Gillette. My name is Michael Ludo. Matt is trapped in Canada. We are broadcasting from the Show Creator Studios in Las Vegas. Happy Mother's Day. I love you, Mom. Penn's movie Director's Cut has finally officially opened, and Penn ran into Tom Arnold, and they talked about Donald Trump. Here he is preaching love, Mr. Penn Gillette.
Yeah, preaching love for all the mothers out there, thinking about our mothers. Thinking about our, I've cut my mom. My mom died the first day of 2000.
Yeah.
So that's, 18 and a half years.
18 and a half.
Luckily, they made the mathematics easy for me. Even I can do that arithmetic. 18 and a half years. And I don't, I'm no longer filled with rage on Mother's Day. Part of that has to do with being a father, so that there's my wife and my children's mother in my life,
Right.
to buy flowers for and to do that kind of stuff. That took away, I think, some of the pain. But I have a friend, a good friend, whose mom is doing badly, very badly now, and he will lose his mom, most likely shortly. I have two friends actually that are in that position, and they come to me as a friend just to chat, and the amount of pain and rage right away is phenomenal. And I was not surprised by my mother's death. I mean, I could not have been less surprised. She deteriorated, and I was there with the morphine,
Right.
watching her get what was likely to be a lethal dose and go into a coma. And it's amazing. But now it's 18 and a half years, and I can report that Mother's Day is twinges
Right.
of pain. But it used to be that there was full-page ads in the New York Times on this day that said, "Fuck you, Penn, your mom's dead."
Right.
It was full-page ads said that. And many, many stores had signs up that said, "Fuck you, Penn, your mom's dead." But I have another friend, as a matter of fact, Ann Buchanan, who we talked to, the geneticist,
Yeah.
that we talked to on the show, about people being the only animals that know that sex brings children, offspring. She told me that being able to look up and look down made a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way she put it poetically, to look up and
That
see
is
your
a nice
parents
way to say it.
and look down and see your children. And when my mom died, and for 7 years later, I did not have anybody to look down toward, and now I do. And that's taken away some of the pain. And I always bought flowers for my mom
Right.
on Mother's Day, and now I get to buy flowers for my wife on Mother's Day, and that takes away some
Right.
of the sting.
That's what kids do.
And how's your
My mom is doing well. I'm happy to say my mom is still alive, and it's been a mom-centric week. My birthday is May 11th. My mom's birthday is May 12th, and Mother's Day is May 13th this year.
boom, boom, boom?
So yeah, I've been talking to my mom a lot.
And how old are
Lots
you?
of flowers. I am 59. Ah!
Did your mom send you flowers?
She didn't send me flowers. No, she's trapped. She broke her foot a couple of weeks ago, so she's trapped.
And what'd you get your wife
Trapped like
on
rats.
this Mother's Day?
What I get for my life, I got up at 6 a.m. this morning and went out and found donuts for my wife.
Now, I had a discussion about donuts the other day with Moxie. Moxie said she had donuts at school.
Nice.
And I said it was some sort of shindig. You don't need any excuse whatsoever to eat when you're, they give you food all the time. So she had some sort of little shindig at her school. She said she had donuts. And I said, what kind of donuts? Was it, was it Dunks? Was it Krispy Kreme? She said, I don't know. I said, young lady, I raised you better than that.
I'm ashamed for you.
It was a humiliating experience. She said, I don't know what kind. I said, were they Dunks like your dad grew up with, Massachusetts? Or were they Krispy Kremes like your dad discovered in Tennessee? Or were they Winchells that nobody likes? And she said, I don't know. I said, or were they just generic supermarket donuts? She said, oh, they were generic. I said, well, then tell me that. Just say generic supermarket donuts.
No, yeah, go ahead.
The idea of not knowing what kind of donut it was.
We had feral donuts. We had, just a wild one-off, a place called Coco's Donuts.
Where's that?
Rainbow Boulevard.
I think there's another Coco's.
There could be. There could be more of them.
Coco's on Cheyenne.
There could be. It might be a local chain.
I think my son goes to the Coco's.
Well, Coco's got good donuts. We even got some of the, the croissant donut things.
Oh, yeah.
The cronuts.
The cronuts, which we've adopted that word. Did you eat them?
I had a few, yeah.
A few?
I'm sick as a dog. Last 3 days have just been awful. I can't wait for tomorrow.
And you had cake?
I had cake. I had a whole cake for my birthday.
How big a cake?
A big old bundt cake. A bundt cake. I had.
You sure you got that first letter right? Bundt cake. And how big?
I ate probably a big, 10-inch regular round bundt cake. A couple of people had pieces of it, but I really had most of it.
Chocolate?
Yes.
Chocolate frosting?
No, cream cheese frosting.
Good.
Chocolate cream cheese frosting.
Because I'll tell you,
replaced. My wife did this. She's at this great idea. She replaced the oil in the cake with half a can of cherry pie filling, and then throwing a handful of chocolate chips in there.
See, I don't want cherry pie in my cookie.
Well, you're just wrong. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
You've been wrong about a few things. This whole show's about that.
You're
doing one live. I think it's kind of nice of you.
in my confections, with the exception of nuts now and again, or a chocolate chip now and again, I don't like shit in my ice cream or in my cake. You make me a chocolate cake, and I think you should.
Okay.
I want it to be a rich, moist chocolate cake. With frosting that is not that kind of frosting that my wife loves. She does not like buttercream frosting or cream cheese frosting.
Right.
She likes that frosting.
The grocery store,
sugar. I hate that frosting.
Yeah.
I want frosting that is slippery.
Yeah.
I want slippery frosting on rich cake.
I'll bring you a cake. Next time you're ready for cake, let me know.
My birthday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But you know what I also like? And I think I'm still going to do this, even though you're not supposed to. My favorite food, for a celebration is brownie batter.
Yeah, that's pretty
And my
good.
children are disgusted by how much brownie batter I can eat. But I like brownie batter. There's nothing that will quicker get you that feeling in your stomach of eating too much cake than eating brownie batter.
Satiate, yes.
Yeah. But when there's cherries in it.
It was great. It's
a
delicious.
It's
such a dark chocolate that the cherries are really good in it. And if you let it sit overnight, the chips will get back to being crunchy. So that's really good too. And again, probably messing you up, but
yeah, not good.
Perfect dark cake.
She made the bundt cake?
Uh-huh.
What is the definition of a bundt cake?
I think it's just the shape. I think it's just that kind of that giant donut-y shape.
Yeah, it's good shape.
It's good shape.
And I think it probably also cooks more evenly or something.
Yeah, probably.
That's the theory. Because there's a bundt cake shop.
Yeah, we have a nothing bundt cakes.
Nothing bundt cake. Yeah.
And they're great.
And that's the pun they chose to go with.
I know.
The other.
I'm amazed every time I hear it.
If I were opening that shop, it would be called You Stupid Bunt. And it would not be nearly as successful, would it?
No.
Not nearly
Not nearly. Be like our show on Showtime. We just wouldn't be able to run the title anywhere. Go to the cake place. Which one? You know the one.
Yeah.
I can't go there.
So what else did you do on your birthday?
Took my son to work.
I know that's exciting.
It is exciting.
And he's liking work, right?
He is loving work. It turns out that if you're an autistic kid working somewhere where you get to answer the same question all day, perfect. He loves that anyway. You know how he'll perseverate on something and talk about it all day.
What was that word you used for?
Perseverate?
Perseverate. I don't know that word.
Just
Persevere. From persevere?
Yeah.
Perseverate?
Yeah.
And is that a medical term?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's a term. It's just a word.
Okay.
But he's running a touch tank, and so kids come up and they're handling sea stars, and he'll tell them it's not called a starfish anymore. We don't call them starfish.
Oh, I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, isn't that a starfish?
Yeah, it's a starfish.
They call them sea stars.
Sea stars. They're sea
they're
stars
not
and
fish.
jellies. Yeah, same thing. They're not jellyfish anymore. Now they're jellies, and
That's confusing, isn't it, to people?
I guess it is. But it's a delight for my son to be able to stop every kid who comes up and tells him that. Gets to tell him. And he'll tell you how to handle it. And he talks about there are horseshoe crabs in the tank, and the horseshoe crabs have blue blood. And he's very excited about that. Cephalopods and octopi have blue blood, the octopidides. And people capture the horseshoe crabs and drain the blood, about like a third of the blood out of them, and then release them. And they use that blood in making antibiotics. Crazy.
Really?
Yeah. And so now that he's learned all of that, of course,
My comment there was, really? That's what I brought to the conversation.
Everybody that comes up, he's excited to tell them that. And so he spends the whole day repeating
What
that.
kind of antibiotics?
I don't know which antibiotic it's for.
I heard that they're stopping that procedure this year.
Possibly. Because they don't know if the horseshoe crabs are surviving it.
They have a I've lost the vocabulary word.
Perseverate?
They have a bunt. They have a bunt. They have a generic version that they can assimilate now.
Oh, good. That's probably
right.
better for the horseshoe crabs then.
Probably, yeah.
Because really, imagine that people were like aliens were showing up and sucking us off the earth, taking a third of our blood and throwing us back down. That happens to you every week anyway, but
Yeah.
it's not aliens.
First Monday of every month, I am in the
Sucked up by
blood bank.
aliens.
Getting sucked up by aliens. And I still have, this is getting to be a little scarred. I've
Right.
almost got a tap my left arm.
Wow.
Now, I went
Synthetic was the word I was looking for.
a few months ago. I went in and I got the best stick I've ever gotten in my life.
Right.
I mean, this woman slid it in like butter.
Just woof.
It was amazing. And then I just flowed like a new morning stream. Just beautiful. And then I went in the next month and I made a huge mistake. I said to the woman, I said,
No, don't.
I'll tell you, the bar is set really high for you. Because last month I was in here and it was like the most perfect stick ever. It was just beautiful. And then she gave me a stick that hurt me for 10 days and that only could get me one bag. I usually give 2 bags of
Right.
platelets because of my size. Only 1 bag of platelets. And it hurt every moment, which is, I want to tell
Right.
people, because I'm a big blood donor guy, this is a very unusual
Yeah, it
occurrence.
doesn't happen
This
that
is the only time it's ever happened to me, and this is advanced blood donating. You won't get this in a regular, given a bag of blood. This is advanced platelets where you're down for, 2.5 hours.
Right.
And then I went in last month, and I then had my story amended. Good stick, but bad stick. What are we going to do this time?
Where are you?
And they brought over, her name was not Shania, it was something, Shaquille, it was something like an S name that was unusual and might have had an apostrophe in it. But they brought her over. And she came over with like the feeling she had was like Clint Eastwood walking into a Western town. She walked over and said, yeah, they sent me over because you want a really good stick. And I said, yeah. And she went, okay. And she
Squinted a little at you.
squinted a little at me. Yeah, da, da, da. And she, she under pressure. And
Right.
having called the pocket.
Right.
She called the pocket. And she said, oh, I don't know why they had trouble. These are good veins. Usually they say to me, these aren't the greatest veins. She said, these are good veins. I can go in either one of these two. You know, and then in my mind, she just kind of spun the thing in her hand and went in and gave me just a beautiful stick, really nice.
That's fantastic.
And you know, soon we'll be doing that.
I heard.
Godot and I will be studying phlebotomy. Are you on board for that?
Yes.
You can be.
Yes.
So I think it'll be Jerry. You on board for phlebotomy? Maybe. We are going to we will all be employed by United Blood Services, and we'll go through the training program.
That seems great.
And I think we should be. There's a lot of arithmetic and stuff to learn, a lot of safety stuff to learn. And then what I would like, and I'm sorry to leave Jared Reddy out of this, but I would like the first day that we get to stick someone in the public, I would like to get the head of United Blood Services to stand there, and I would like to have Matt, Godot, and me. And I would like that person to say, "Are you sure you three guys know what you're doing?" As the Stooges begin taking blood. But I believe we will do each other.
Yeah.
And the employees of the blood bank have offered to let us work on them.
Oh, nice.
But I would love, when the 13 bloody days of Christmas roll around this year, I would like to offer people that we will
That would be great.
actually do the sticks.
That's really
Would that be
exciting.
pretty great?
Yes.
That seems great.
Think we'll be good at it?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Who will
I'm not
be
too
the,
worried
who
about
will
it.
be the best of us?
I have no idea. We'll have to find out.
I would think you would be.
I hope so.
I think Godot would be
I
the best.
plan on trying to do a good
What do you
job.
think you'd be, Reddy?
Same.
You'd be good?
Godot's going to be the best out of it.
Oh, well, thanks. Appreciate that.
And I just want to ask this, just for fun. Anybody have any doubts who's going to be the worst? It's between me and Donnelly, right?
Right.
Who'll be the worst? I think it's me, right?
Possibly.
I think I'll be the worst. I think that if you come in to get me to
If
draw
you're,
your
if you're
blood,
tough enough,
you might have not only a celebrity encounter but also an adventure in medical
you
procedures.
could get stuck by all three of us trying to get it right. We should just do that every time. You'll go first, Matt will go second. If it's there, I'll take the third.
But this is all being set up. I believe it's going to really happen.
That seems
And
impossible.
It's going to be hard work.
Yeah,
We're learning a whole
a career, a new career at last.
yeah.
Something to fall back on.
And that's the great thing when you
now
go
that the circus is closed, we have to find something.
when you go into phlebotomy in Vegas. The phlebotomists were all, not all this, but one I spoke to said she'd been a dancer.
Right.
One was an acrobat.
Okay.
In Vegas, and that's what we people don't know outside of Vegas is people do not leave Vegas. You see this as a transient community because we have a lot of tourists come in here. But the residents are not. It's not a transient population. Right. People live here their whole lives, and they go through stages like pupa and so on, larva. They come here and they work in the young people profession.
Right.
The show business.
They'll dance or
Correct,
acrobats or
all those things that you can do when you're younger. And then they go into some form of show business like backstage.
Right.
While they learn another trade. And then they become dental assistants.
Phlebotomists.
Yeah,
dental
and phlebotomists.
Yeah.
And so you got a
Craft
showbiz feeling that moves through the casino, then out of the casino, then into the. It's a wonderful thing, and I've started to ask people that I meet in these things. Like when I go to the doctor, I start asking the people, "What line of show business were you in?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get answers.
Place it that way. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dental, the lady who does my cleanings, used to dance with Teresa in Playboy Girls of Rock and Roll.
Yeah, I was one of the Playboy Girls of Rock and Roll.
That's great.
And now I'm a dental hygienist.
Yeah.
And I guess there's nothing more joyous than that to me.
Nope.
I played in a cover band, and now I'm a postal worker.
Yeah.
It's a good way to
Pretty
way to go.
fantastic.
So we'll have our phlebotomy all in place. I believe we're going to actually be hired. I mean, there's some legal stuff that we have to. We're going to do the real training. This is not going to be like some jive thing. It's not like an honorary doctorate. You can't get honorary phlebotomist. I will need to pass all the same tests.
Yeah,
I want to stress that they're not doing anything shoddy. They're doing this right. And, when I say I have to pass the tests, that doesn't mean I have to pass the tests. It's possible we'll go through this whole thing and Godot and Reddy and Matt and Jerry will be phlebotomists, and I will be in my third round of trying to get through the tests. That's very possible. So we're going to be phlebotomists.
I'm excited about
I'd be
that.
really excited. I was watching them a little bit more clean, and I always try to talk them out of doing it right. I always say when they're scrubbing,
Right.
they do a full minute of scrubbing with antiseptic on your arm. I go,
Right.
you don't have to go a full minute. 15 seconds, you're done. Go ahead, you're fine. And you never can talk them out of it. They dropped something on the floor, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and she picked it up and threw it away. And I went, you don't have to throw it away. Just drop. Just.
5-second rule on needles probably doesn't.
I also tell them this is my favorite gag. It makes me laugh every time. They're gonna stick your middle finger, right? And they stick it to check your iron.
Yeah.
Put the little, it's the spring-loaded
Yeah.
that gets a drop of blood. I always say to them, when you prick me with that needle, I'm going to scream at the top of my lungs in pain, right in your face. I'm going to scream so loud you will not believe it. I'm going to scream so loud that all the people around here will be running over to the door. I'm warning you, I'm going to do it. So when you hit that button, be aware that I am going to scream, and I mean bloody murder. Are you ready for that? And then they stick me, and I go, oh, did it already happen? Damn. But boy, is there tension going into that. It's a lot of tension going into that.
I'm going to shoot you during that speech. I'm going to scream as soon as I...
Yeah. Well, one of them has done that.
That's good. That's the right plan.
And then do you watch when they stick the needle in you?
Yes, I do. You know what? I couldn't. I had a big needle problems until I had infertility problems with my wife. Like you, I gave my wife a shot every night for a few weeks.
We've talked
And that,
about
that recovered.
we've talked about Jason Garfield filling in for me on those shots.
Yeah.
How a juggler learns to give shots. He practiced with the grapefruit like 1,000 times. He got perfect. He did perfect shots. And it's wonderful for those of you going through. Maybe it wasn't wonderful for you. But we loved it. When Emily and I did the fertility drugs, when you give her the shot, in 15 minutes, she just gets really emotional,
She's angry at you, yeah.
starts crying, getting angry.
Yeah.
And we used to giggle about it. Well, look at the clock. Here's what's going to happen. And then she would still get mad and depressed and angry, but it was really funny. You know, was that work for you?
No.
No.
No. No. I wanted a rifle so I could do it from a long distance.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was fun. And we got good at that. I did a fine
Yeah.
job at that.
Right.
I can probably learn
But did you
this.
were you nervous about needles before that? You probably weren't.
No.
I wasn't comfortable around needles until that time.
You know, the number of things I'm nervous about,
Right.
almost zero. You know,
Yeah.
I just kind of go through life this way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of okay with that. I want to read. Should I segue into something? Should I just read this cold?
Why don't you read it cold, and then we'll decide.
I want to address this because Reddy sent this to me like 2 weeks ago, and it kind of festered. I thought it was a silly, stupid little thing, and I wasn't going to address it.
I struggled so much on this one.
He struggled. I wasn't going to address it at all. And then I found myself, after the show, during the thank yous when I'm meeting people, I found myself obsessing on this and getting really defensive and angry about this. And so I want to read this and I want to address it because it bothers me.
All right.
And I'm not, there's no joke to this. It really troubles me. This is from, should I say his name? Sure, why not, right? He gave his name.
I don't remember him saying not to.
Yeah, but we don't need his name. He'll know who he is if he hears it. We'll call him Bob. That's his name. After listening to this week's podcast where you and Matt were talking about the success rate when hitting on women using catcalls, I'm curious if you were ever successful at hitting on a woman through the use of the, quote, tickling of the palm technique when shaking hands. After a Penn and Teller show in Seattle many years ago, my girlfriend and I wanted to meet you. We both shook your hand, and we got back to the car. My girlfriend said that while you were shaking your hand, you tickled the inside of her palm with your finger. I remember being flattered that you were hitting on my girlfriend, even more flattered that she turned you down. Forever a fan, but still bummed that you didn't hit on me.
Right.
A fine note. Fine note. Now, the tickling of the palm, which I had only heard about when I was in high school and only heard about it as a gay thing, which I'm sure it isn't, you know.
Right.
But that's the way it was explained to me.
In Massachusetts in 69.
I believe, yeah, 72.
Okay.
I believe I have never once done that. I believe I've never once done that, even as a joke with anybody. Never. It's not the kind of thing I would do. It seems like it would be awkward
Right.
and uncomfortable and disrespectful, unless it was a pure joke. But I've never found the opportunity to do the pure joke that I can remember.
Right.
And this obviously was not that I hung a lantern on it and did a joke. Okay?
Right.
So we have a couple of possibilities here. Well, if you have a few. One is I could have gone through a period of my life when I did that once and blocked it and forgot about it, which seems very unlikely.
Right.
But you always have to have that there because we know that I'm an unreliable narrator. Two, she made it up
Right.
as a sexy thing to tell him because obviously he liked it, right? So she could have just made it up as fun as
a game for him.
as a silly,
As a treat.
silly little thing to say to him. Or three, it was accidental. You know,
Right.
there is an incredible amount, and when you are, and now that the Pound Me Too movement is
Right.
is enlightening us, so I'm very aware
Hashtag
of
Me
that.
Too?
Yeah.
Pound Me Too means something
Oh,
different.
does it?
In my vocabulary, Pound Me Too is
Oh, see, I thought that. So I should
that's
say.
still a pound sign.
I should say Octothorpe.
Okay, yes, Octothorpe would be.
Octothorpe is what I meant. Because, the guys who invented, you know the people that invented the Octothorpe? It was invented at Bell Labs. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah. The people that invented it called it the Octothorpe. So I think out of respect for them, I call it the Octothorpe. Also, it's a wicked fun word to say, and I've worked it into our live show. I say the word Octothorpe. If there's a word I like enough, it'll eventually come into the show.
So this means that you're very clearly on GIF
Yes.
for the same reason.
Very clearly on GIF. GIF and Octothorpe. If you had just certainly Octothorpe.gif would be my favorite file of all time. So anyway, I've been very aware of that. Now I have after the show hundreds, not high hundreds, but hundreds of people who come up to shake my hand, get an autograph, take a picture.
Right.
Okay. During that time, with people moving around, there is, and I noticed this on me, an incredible amount of completely, I believe, accidental body grabbing.
Right.
I will have, I just noticed the other night, which made me laugh a lot, an older gentleman, by older gentleman, I mean older than me, probably in his late 70s, early 80s, stood next to me to take a picture with his wife on the other side, and he rested his hand on my ass. He just held my ass for the entire picture. I don't know whether he thought it was around my waist or what he thought, or he just thought, I'm this age, I can get away with this. But I found it really funny. And I was going to make a joke about it, then decided it might embarrass him.
Right.
And then I also liked it, so I let it go. Okay? And I also know that women get pushed against me and rub their breasts against me. I also know that I have put my hand on someone's shoulder to take a picture and stuck my hand directly in their shirt. They have a
Right,
broad
yeah, of course.
neckline
Yeah, it just happened.
right in their
Yeah.
shirt. I've done that. And I also know that because I'm tall, there's very rarely anything that could be seen as ass grabbing around me. The shoulder, I'm on
Right.
people's shoulders and not around their waist. If you're smaller, you're around their waist. And I also know that I habitually, whoever, regardless of gender, when I have my hand on their shoulder and taking a picture, right after the picture snaps, I give a squeeze.
Right.
I always give like a firm
Right,
squeeze,
and-
like, goodbye,
Thank you.
we're done now,
Yeah.
thank you. That indicates that. But I have never done the tickling the palm thing.
Right.
And I don't think I know anyone who does.
Right.
I also don't know when that would be. Now, I've heard that there are people, and I believe I've done this. That when you want to show more affection when shaking hands, you cover the entire handshake with the other hand. Mm-hmm. I've done that.
Right.
And I've done that for all sorts of intimacy purposes. I've done that with friends, someone who's really important to meet, and also with someone who, either gender on that too, covered the hand.
Right.
But do you even know the tickling the palm thing?
I know what it is. just, again, like you, from being a teenage boy and other people doing it as a joke. But at this point in my life, there is only one person I would consider doing that with, and that's Johnny Thompson.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? And I think you'd feel the same way. There's one person who that would be appropriate with, and that's Johnny Thompson.
Johnny
would
always
laugh. He would like that.
Johnny would like that. I'll do that next time I see
Yeah.
Johnny. Although I don't usually shake hands with Johnny.
No, I know.
usually
Usually hug and kiss, yeah.
Yeah, usually hug and kiss Johnny, because that's his style
Right.
of showbiz. So I don't know if I've ever shaken. Yes, I have. At the end of Gambler's Ballad, which is now on Showtime, I reach out and shake his hand, and cover it with the other hand, as a matter of fact. And how about you? Ready?
There's one guy that did this to me while I was a strip club DJ on a regular basis.
And did you think it was hitting on you or just a joke?
He was an unpleasant fella, and he did everything as a mean-spirited joke.
Oh, so it was mean-spirited.
Yeah. I don't think he thought that it was mean-spirited, but that's how it read for everybody else.
I see. And Jared, you even heard of this? Yeah, I never even heard of it. So I want to say that whatever happened here, but I will tell you that I often have people shake my hand while I'm facing the other way. They kind of grab my hand. And I don't think I would do that gesture to find someone's hand, but they could feel that if they came in on my thumb or something side. I just know
It just seems
that
very unlikely
Yeah.
to have ever happened.
So this is why I struggled with this. Because I almost didn't address it with you, and I almost just told the guy, this is a lie.
I'm not sure it's a lie.
Because it's not your style of humor,
Nope.
and it's not your style of flirting.
No.
And I think I know both of those pretty well at this point.
My style of flirting is very simply eye contact. That's all it is eye contact for a longer time. I mean, if there's not verbal, the only physical thing I do. But that also shows intimacy, because if I'm interested meeting someone, I also do longer eye contact too. As a matter of fact, I can't think of anything that I do flirting-wise that is gender-specific, that isn't just affection in general, intimacy in general. I can't think of anything I would do specifically to a woman that I wouldn't do to a man. I can't think of any sort of physical or communication thing that I do that way. I can't think of anything.
But I think you've nailed it on your middle choice there. It hadn't occurred to me that she was lying because he would like it.
For fun. Just playful. And there's absolutely no harm in that. You know what I mean? I applaud her playfulness in that if it played right. Or just, some interesting thing to add to that. Or, we don't know, lie is an awfully strong word. We don't know what she felt.
And it might have been Teller.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you're entirely ignoring. Certainly people confuse the two of you.
when you heard about it first in high school, was it gay predominantly?
I was on everybody's gaydar, so I didn't really hear those kind of things.
I see. Was it predominantly gay?
No, I don't believe it was predominantly gay. It was just something creepy to do, and I don't believe it was.
But wasn't a flirtatious thing either. Just
Wasn't even
creepy.
flirtatious. It was just creepy. Yeah, it was just something you did to make people laugh.
I knew that it was creepy, and at that time, creepy and gay.
Right.
With the things that I knew, and I would have occasional friend would do it as a creepy joke when seking hands, which seems exactly right. The idea that would be used as serious, honest flirtation seems to be impossible. I mean, I guess it would have happened, but I can't imagine. I remember when Stan Freberg's wife, she said when she first met Stan and they shook hands, he covered their hands with his other hands. And she took that as a huge flirtatious symbol that he really was interested in her. And that was where the whole romance started. And then after they'd been out a couple times, he met someone in a restaurant who came up to ask for an autograph, said, "You're Stan Freberg." And he reached over, shook his hand, and covered it with the other hand. And she realized at that moment he did that every time he shook hands, and it meant nothing. But their whole relationship had been based on that. She told that really funny story.
So To him, she seemed really aggressive.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, why is she coming on like that? Cool.
Yeah. So that's that. I also let me just do this.
Yeah, let's do that.
We got to. Boy, I like these guys. You know, this is a really, really good product, and they're very supportive of the show. U.S. Postal Service is an important tool for any business. Stamps.com is the easiest way to access all the amazing services of the post office. Stamps.com never closes. Print postage for letters or packages at your convenience 24/7. Print postage for any mail class right from your computer. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to rent one of those machines. Nothing. Just need a computer and a printer. And Stamps.com will give you all the postage you need. Convenient, easy, reliable, efficient. It's a great service. We use it for everything. The long-suffering Laura uses it in our office. Emily's using it for all the fulfillments on Director's Cut.
I just printed out a barbecue zoo cover and sent it out a couple days
Barbecue
ago.
Zoo. Yeah, it's Stamps.com. Brings all the amazing service of the U.S. Postal Service right to your fingertips. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter, any package, any class of mail using your own computer and printer. Now, what you need to know is you just put it in your mailbox, put the little flag up, whatever you want to do.
Yep.
If you got a ton of stuff, or you send out hundreds of things, just call the post office. Tell them you got a lot of stuff coming.
You don't
And
even
it's
need to
all
call
done.
them. You can do it right through the website.
Yeah. They'll send you a digital scale, automatically calculates exact postage. Stamps.com will even help you decide the best class of mail based on your needs. No need to lease an expensive postage meter, and there are no long-term commitments. Yeehaw! Right now, you too can enjoy Stamps.com service with a special office that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale. Go to Stamps.com, click the microphone at the top of the homepage, and please, please, please type in
Penn.
That's Stamps.com. Enter.
Penn.
Good. There we go. We're going to go there. Now, Director's Cut, the movie that I've been working on for 15 years, and which crowdfunders, many of them listening to this show, gave me a shit ton of money, a metric shit ton of money, to make this movie. And Adam Rifkin and I took this money, and we made a real movie that is real crazy. I mean, really crazy. And because of the production values, because of the people that crowdfunded it, you don't have the hints that it's as crazy as it is, because it has the production it needs. And it has real actors
Right.
doing a really good job. And it is a batshit crazy movie. And Epic Films picked it up. And it's going to be on video on demand all over the country. It's going to hit iTunes really, really soon. And it's going to, it's actually in a few theaters. It's in Seattle, it's in LA, it's in Nashville, a few other places. It's actually playing. And it's hitting a few film festivals. And all those people who gave money, they're getting their packages. And yes, the timing is all discombobulated. There's all this stuff we said, you'll get it before it does this, before it does that. We sent out the link so they can see it before. They won't get their DVDs before, their Blu-rays. There's all this stuff that happens that snarls things up. But we are trying to make every single person and the over 5,000 people completely happy with this movie. And it's a weird thing, because I do the Penn and Teller show. If you'd asked me this 30 years ago, I would have disagreed. If you'd said this, disagreed very, very strongly. But now I think I've changed. The Penn and Teller show in Vegas, the live show, is for everyone.
Right.
The audience I'm trying for is a really, really broad audience. Now, there are people that would come to the show that certain things they wouldn't like, it wouldn't be for them. And I would say to them after the show, this isn't for you. But at some level, that hurts my feelings. I want the show to be for everyone. This is a broad Vegas show, over 1,000 people a night, 250 shows a year come to see our show, and I believe the vast majority of them enjoy it.
Right.
The vast majority of them enjoy it, and I'm happy with that. And although I have things in my heart and things in my mind that are crazy, I channel them into the show, but try to make them for a broad audience.
Palatable for everyone.
We have 6-year-olds come to our show. We have people much older than me come to the show. We have people of, well, you know, the demographic is certainly limited because whatever it is, it's under $100, but it's about $100 to come see the show. That limits who can come see it.
Of course it is.
And also people who get to Vegas, that limits it. But it's still a pretty broad demographic. We have people really, really dressed up and people wearing cargo shorts in the same audience, you know, which is I'm just describing.
That's what Vegas is now.
And I'm doing that for a broad audience. This podcast is not for as broad an audience as the live show.
Right.
Yeah. It's you know it's a more specific taste.
Cephalopod centric.
Yeah. My books are for some of them for an atheist audience, some of them for a weight loss audience, some of them for a libertarian audience, but a smaller audience than the live show. This movie is for the smallest of all possible audiences I've written for. This is the smallest audience of anything I've written that's come out. I have things much more personal and small that never come out. But this is, and the people that like it, I mean, love it. Because there is no competition. This is not like, oh, this is one of those kind of movies. No, it's not like that. It is extremely creepy, very funny, and it also is, and I'm using this word, I'm considering this word when I'm saying it. It is intellectual.
Right.
And I don't mean that as smart. I mean that as intellectual. I mean that it targets the intellect. Because I was really interested in the unreliable narrator and how that could be subverted in a director's commentary. And I was also really interested in mixtapes and crowdfunding and the mixing of stardom and what that's happened in our culture in the past 20 years. These are all things that obsessed me and all things I wanted to set out. It's also a puzzle to see if I could write something this complex in terms of points of view. And it's me at my absolute fattest. I'm the fattest I've been in my life during the actual weeks we were shooting this. So I'm not even Penn. I really am a character, Herbie. And, you know, Adam Rifkin says all the time, and so does Missy, who worked with me. They say, you know, I really miss Herbie. Because usually when someone's in character, you know you're never going to see them again. But Herbie is deeply dead. My voice has changed that weight loss.
Right.
I look different in that weight loss. My hair is different. I act different. It is probably as different as you can be from me. It really is. This is a different character. And, you know, we did the opening, and people were there, and I got what I believe maybe, I have to say, maybe the weakest compliment I have ever received in my life. Now, I want to say, I don't want to highlight this one because a lot of people came out and said how much they loved it. The most common thing was that was so much better than I expected and so much weirder.
Right.
Which is amazing because I did nothing over 5 years to these crowdfunders but say how weird-ass this movie was. So the fact that it's weirder than they think is astonishing. I will tell you that Teller loves this movie. And actually, when he was talking about it on stage, we did a Q&A afterwards, Teller actually cried about how this movie means about people who love movies and love art and aren't able to express it, which is part of what it is.
Yeah.
It's about love without skill, which I think is tickling the hand. Love without skill. But a guy came up. You're gonna adore this. And a guy said to me, looking in my eye, shaking my hand, really sincerely, he said to me, "Congratulations. It's really hard to get any movie made."
Right. Though that is, yeah, that's on the list of things that you can say to people when you hate their project.
Yeah. It was an incredibly weak compliment. We had cupcakes, and Emily did a, just fabulous job of getting everybody happy and all that. And now it's in the hands of the professionals. You know, Epic Films and Pete Golden and
Right.
Rifkin are all taking that out, and they're running with it and bringing it out to the world. And we got a call which surprised the shit out of me. Got a call from Marvel, and they said, we're really worried about the release timing because we were hoping that Infinity War
Yeah.
would be the most successful. And you are stealing so much of our thunder. And they said they tried to push back the release so that they could have a little time saying that Infinity War was the most successful movie for. I said, just give us that, please, Penn. For like a few weeks, let us have that success worldwide before we release Director's Cut, because we know we're going down to Chinatown. And I said, listen, hey, I love you guys. You're beautiful. I respect you very much. But this movie must come out when it must come out because the people are demanding it. They want to see it. So I'm sorry that Infinity War will no longer be the top movie.
Yeah.
But we're taking that away. And I feel pretty, forget about it. You're down to number 5 place. But Director's Cut will hit the world. And I believe, and a friend of mine pointed this out to me, you know, you start out making a movie, or you start out any project. I don't even think this is just show business. But you can start out doing a project to be crazy for yourself.
Right.
And then when it gets finished, you want everybody to like it. Even though you tried to make it so that everybody wouldn't like it. So it does break my heart, anyone who doesn't like this movie, even though I know intellectually. I want to tell you, if I were 19 or 20, when I was a punk and taking an art and watching all the weird stuff, if this movie in this form had come out then by somebody that was like a Vegas magician and they put out this movie, it would have been my favorite movie of all time. You know, I loved El Topo. I loved Oh Lucky Man. I loved every batshit crazy movie I could see when I was younger. I loved them. I loved Our Hitler. I loved all those crazy movies when I was, you know, up until the age of 35, when I just started not having time to invest in that kind of stuff. If I were the kind of person I am, but not me, I would be absolutely crazy for this movie. I would love it beyond anything I've ever seen. But if you're someone who loves Fool Us, and you love the Penn and Teller Show, and you love the podcast, and you say, oh boy, there's a movie out, think twice. Say, how much, when Penn goes into his weird jags that no one understands, is that my favorite part of the podcast? 'Cause if it is, run, don't walk to see this movie. If that's the part that you hit the 15+ button on for 15 seconds and skip over, do not see this movie. This movie is a glimpse into what I'm really thinking all the time. Just so you know. Okay, so that's Director's Cut. The real exciting part was Ron Jeremy came to the show.
Our pal Ron.
Our pal Ron Jeremy, porn star Ron Jeremy. And Ron Jeremy, I have taken liberty and license with. Ron Jeremy always wears sweatpants when he is out in public. He always wears sweatpants. And I always go up because I believe I'm safe on this, because I believe he'd have a hard time pressing charges. I always go up, reach down to his sweatpants, and I cradle his penis and his testicles in my hand and give a little squeeze every time I meet him. Because I believe, what good is it knowing Ron Jeremy if you can't just give him a little squeeze, right?
Yeah.
What good is that? And he was with 2 twins. Twins.
4?
I guess you could have more than, you could have hundreds of twins.
Yes.
Yeah. But he was with a pair
Yes.
of twins who were showing me videos. One of them was showing me videos on her phone of her husband, who is dead, speaking to her from flares around the moon.
Huh?
She's saying, I have absolute proof that my husband is speaking to me through the moon. And I said, no, you don't, without looking at the videos. And she said, no, this is my dead husband. I said, I believe your husband is dead. I don't believe he's communicating with you. Then she showed me videos of the moon with a flare. And she said, you can't explain that. And I said, it's a flare off the camera lens, I believe. Could be wrong. She noticed my dead husband talking to me. I said, no, it isn't. She said, yes, it is. I said, no, it isn't. She said, yes, it is. I said, no. But it was all very pleasant. We just disagreed. And
You never said duck season.
I never said duck season, rap season, duck season. And
It is your husband. It isn't, and I'm not going to listen to you for another second.
and Ron Jeremy was there. Dee Snider was there.
Nice.
Dee Snider's not the target audience for this movie.
No,
He
probably
said
not.
afterwards, I thought you were going to be meaner. I thought you were going to be badder. You're not that bad. The character's too lovable. I thought you were going to get real. I want to see you as a really bad guy, Dee Snider said. We had Missy. And
Pyle, yeah.
I remind Missy Pyle that next movie I write, more kissing, less running. We both hated the running. We both wrote. She said, "How about the next movie is just I put on 110 pounds, then we sit on the couch and make out." I said, "Good thinking." Lynn Shay was there. Lynn Shay was there, saying I was much more attractive at my weight now than I was when I was heavier.
Right.
Hayes was there. There was just a great.
Nice.
Everybody was there. Rifkin was in a very happy mood, and I would say that of the people who saw the movie that night, crowdfunders, I would say about half of them loved the movie, crazy for the movie, which is a very, very high percentage. And of course, this is a targeted audience. Now remember, I made this movie for the crowdfunders. So the crowdfunders liking it is success. But Director's Cut by Penn will be out and will be around, and it'll be, like I said, like in a week, it's coming on iTunes. So if you want to say, to your friend or loved one, you want to come over and watch a really weird-ass movie, put Director's Cut in the queue. If you do not want to see a weird-ass movie, go see Infinity War. It goes right through. It's a good movie. It's a fine movie all the way through. As a matter of fact, if you want to see a movie that's not crazy, I would suggest any movie available other than mine. Because my movie does...
There's no limit on the crazy.
There's no limit on the crazy. There's really no limit.
Nice.
Let me ask you, did you see El Topo?
No.
Okay. Did you see El Topo?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I would remember, right?
Oh, yeah. When I saw El Topo in the 70s, it's his name, Andre Jabowaski. What's his name there?
I don't know.
Yeah, but it's
We'll look it up.
it means the mole, El Topo. And El Topo is a crazy psychedelic cowboy western.
Alejandro Jodorowsky.
Yeah.
Mexican acid western film.
Yes, it is.
That's a good description.
And there is a movie out now about the making of El Topo.
Alejandro
Yeah.
Jodorowsky.
Every single. Now, I'm not saying that this is a psychedelic Mexican western. My movie is not that. But I'm just saying that the way I felt going to see El Topo is the way I hope some teenagers or early 20s feel seeing my movie. And maybe people my age, too, will see it and enjoy it. A really funny thing happened. So the theater is full. It was Mann's Chinese restaurant, Chinese theater. Not Mann's Chinese restaurant.
That was full, too.
Mann's Chinese theater on Hollywood Boulevard.
Wow.
And it was full of people. There's multiple theaters there, smaller theater upstairs. And it was full. And there's a stage there and there's a microphone. And Rob from Epic Films, great guy, is up on stage introducing us. So Rob's going to introduce us. And Rifkin and I, Rifkin the director, and I are going to walk over and introduce the movie before we show it. And there was this great moment. It was so sincere and so beautiful. He's introducing us, Penn, Adam Rifkin, It's a 2-minute introduction. And I'm standing next to Adam. And Adam leans over to me and says, I watched the whole movie
I was going to say
through.
you're tall. That sounds like exactly the same intro for the Trump story.
Yeah. And he leans over to me and says, I watched the movie all the way through with an audience the other night. It's a really weird movie. I love that so much. I love that Adam Rifkin, after working on this thing for 5 years, being in the editing suite, shooting it, directing it, doing the whole thing, takes about 6 months that he's not watching it, then goes and sees it with a theater, and is actually shocked at what a weird movie it is.
He's become accustomed to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like sitting in a room with a bad smell. You just sort of get used to it.
And then he comes back in, and it's a weird movie. So
I was looking at some of the photos, and I realized that Rifkin is ZZ Top.
what do you mean?
He shaves the beard and takes off the hat, and there's nobody in this room that knows what he looks like.
Oh, that's right. Nobody knows what Rifkin looks like. Yeah. I wonder what Rifkin does look like. I have no idea. Yeah. Yeah. He's I've never seen him. Have I ever seen him without the baseball hat? He has the baseball hat and the ponytail and the full beard and the glasses. I've never seen him without even without the baseball hat. I don't know where that ponytail comes from. Maybe it's attached to the hat.
Yeah.
Could be.
Bought that out of a comic book.
Maybe he's a whole other guy. Maybe the beard and everything comes off, and he's like,
Billy Evans.
yeah, or he's Sean Hannity.
That'd be great.
Would that be great?
That'd be great.
He's Sean Hannity. Yeah, can't make the screening. I go, yeah. But so for Mother's Day, if your mom is really, really weird, have her watch Director's Cut with her. Find out what she's really made of.
And take her to lunch at Grauman's Chinese restaurant.
And I got a lot more to talk about. We haven't covered
Good news.
We haven't covered anything at all. So I'm going to say for now, that was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Cha-cha-cha.
And to our listening ears,
You become
nature sang
naked.
and round us rang the music of the spheres. And was Penn Sunday
Yeah, I don't think I ever tickled someone's hand ever, even as a joke. I don't think I ever did it. So I didn't give the guy's name, but Bob, if you're listening, you know.
That was Penn Sunday School.
It's a good guitar part of this. I like his guitar part. That's Ty, right?
Ty Simmons.
Yeah, Ty Simmons.
That was Penn Sunday School.
And whether you like Director's Cut or not, you know I love you.
Stand by for the Wednesday episode, everybody.
Okay, just 1 second.
Give me something. We got a billboard, something.
All the stuff we didn't do before.
Is that pleasant?
You could sell that.
Pleasant, yeah.
What was pleasant?
Freddie was holding his fizzy drink up to the microphone, and I could hear it in the headphones. And it sounds like a pleasant water feature. Sounds like a fountain.
I'm ready to go.
All right, tell me when you're ready.
Go ahead.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Ready's ready.
You look just like that sloth. You look just like the sloth when you do that.
sings and round us rings the music of the spheres.
Sunday School.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Penn Sunday School, starring Penn Gillette. My name is Michael Nadeau. Reddy is covering for Matt in Canada, and we are broadcasting from Show Creator Studios in Las Vegas.
Penn
Today, we're going to get to the Sunday story we didn't get to. Penn meeting Tom Arnold and talking about Donald Trump. And 681 people have lost 32,241 pounds on our Nutville diet. Here he is, preaching love, Mr. Penn Jillette.
Preaching love, preaching love, preaching love. Yeah, I've been over to Hollywood.
You were in Hollywood all last week.
Yeah, and even the week before, I've been doing it a lot. But
You're famous.
Tom Arnold is crazy.
Yeah.
Really crazy. And Tom Arnold's
You
a
seem
wonderful
so
guy.
surprised.
Well, I met him a few times, right? But now he's doing this show. I don't even know what it's for, but it's he's searching for the Trump tapes, right? He wants the Hooker P tape. Supposedly, there's a recording of him in the Trump in the elevator. Ivanka's his daughter. Ivana is his ex-wife. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Hitting Ivana, beating her up, supposedly. So says Tom Arnold.
He reports having racist recordings of Donald Trump.
Yes, he has him using the N-word, supposedly fairly casually. And he's got a lot of stuff. And he wanted to talk to me about Trump. And I was, of course, very measured because, you know, my position on Trump is that if he were just the ex-host of Celebrity Apprentice, I would go off half-cocked. And I would talk about what I heard when I was doing the show. But since he is now President of the United States of America, the stakes become higher. And I don't mean the stakes in terms of legal action against me or anything like that. I mean the stakes in terms of morality.
Right.
Go much higher. So I refused to quote anything I heard Donald Trump say when I was
Must
working
have
on
bitterly
Celebrity Apprentice.
disappointed Mr. Arnold.
It didn't really, because I was very willing to talk about my feelings about it. Because I have a right to that.
Yeah.
I have a right to report how I felt when he said things. But I told him that there was nothing I heard that was worse than the Billy Bush recording of Grab Them by the Pussy. I think that if you aren't bothered by that, you wouldn't be bothered by anything sexual I heard in the room.
That's probably true.
Right.
That seemed pretty far down the line.
Right. And I want to say again, not because of the use of the word pussy and not because of talking about sex, both of which we're very comfortable with, but the absolute, not lack of consent, but the bragging.
Right.
I mean, lack of consent is a problem. Bragging about the lack of consent is so far beyond the pale for me. And I was bothered when that tape came out because I was afraid that too many people were bothered by the words
Right.
or bothered by the sex. That's not the problem with that at all. And I also was very bothered, and I stuck up for him again. Billy Bush, you know, he got caught in the crossfire because Billy Bush, his job, and I've talked about this before, his job was to make the people he's going to interview comfortable. And I will tell you, Billy Bush is, I believe, a good Christian.
Right.
I believe he's a good Christian man, and everything that means to him. And I was on the show with him, whatever the show was, Good Morning, Dog Fuck, whatever it was. I was on that show with him 4 or 5 times, you know, and I would have a mic on. He would have a mic on. We'd be sitting at the table waiting for the other segments to be done to come to us. And there would be 10 minutes, okay? And I remember once vividly talking with Billy Bush about atheism, right? And about Christianity. My book, No God, had come out, and that's what we were going to hit. And I swear to you that if you had just heard that clip of me with Billy Bush, you would claim that Billy Bush was an atheist and an atheist activist.
Right.
You know? Now, he didn't say anything that said there is no God. He didn't say anything that violated his Christian religion, but he was in a mood to get me. No. He was doing his job professionally to get me to speak as freely
As
on camera
candidly as he could.
possible.
That is
he
his
wanted
job.
me to feel like not an adversarial position, but like here was a so he gets the strongest reaction possible when he
Of
goes on the
course.
air. That's his job. That's his job. If you were teaching
His
a
job
class,
is to put you as much at ease as possible so that you speak openly and comfortably and candidly about your story.
and so that the audience gets to hear you
Yes.
in the most candid position. And what I heard in that bus tape was Billy Bush doing for Donald Trump precisely what he did for me.
Right.
Billy Bush laughed at things.
He's going to mirror you. He's going to just go along with what
he's
he
gonna let
wants
those,
you.
Going to let those mirror neurons just
Yep.
fly. And he's going to do that whole thing. And I believe that he gets tarred as this is just locker room talk, which I don't believe Billy Bush engages in. I believe what we heard Billy Bush doing was his job. Simple. Now, if you think his job is slimy, you're right. But that's his job. You know what I mean? That's his job. And Donald Trump is completely responsible for everything he says to Billy Bush. He's not doing his job. He's talking to Billy Bush. If the recording came out, if there was all of a sudden, this is so great, if there was all of a sudden a scandal about Penn Jillette being an atheist. All of a sudden that hits the news. Penn Jillette is an atheist. And they play the Billy Bush tape as evidence of that. I am 100% responsible for what I say about atheism there. And Billy Bush is not. Billy Bush is mirroring me to get me to be open and ready on TV. But anyway, so I talked to Tom Arnold, and boy, this is what always happens. I've met Tom Arnold a couple times before.
Sure.
I've always liked him. Man, I just loved him. It was a really wacky show. I don't know what the hell kind of show they're doing, but Rob Zabrecki, Zabrecki
Sure.
from Possum Dixon.
Yeah.
We set up at, what's it called? Rose Rabbit. Not Rose Rabbit Live. That was the Vegas version.
Vegas Nocturne. Oh, the new one.
there's a whole-
The Black Rose, Black Rabbit.
Black Rabbit Rose, Black Rose Rabbit. It's in Hollywood. There's
New Magic Club.
New Magic Club. And the premise was Rob Zabrecki is doing a show. Tom and I are watching in the audience. Then Rob finishes, and Tom Arnold and I talk for an hour about Donald Trump.
Black Rabbit Rose.
Black Rabbit Rose. Nice club. Nice club.
Haven't been.
And I guess Libby works there a lot. Libby Larson.
Yeah, sure.
She works there a
Liberty.
lot. She's wonderful. She's on Fool Lesson. She's great.
Yeah, Liberty Larson.
Yeah, but people call her Libby. Does she work under the name Liberty?
No, I've just always heard.
I've always been introduced to her. I know her name is Liberty, but I always talk to her as Libby. She does. And her show is great. And she does that. But we were there in the afternoon.
Right.
Totally fake. And then Rob Zabrecki, who's really
He's
good.
great. I love
He's
Zabrecki
really good.
so much.
He was killer on Fool Us, and he's good all the time. I never saw Possum Dixon live. Did you, Reddy?
No.
Never saw Possum.
no.
I heard he was like one of the greatest lead singers of all time. I've heard a lot of people say that. So there you go.
Just never managed it.
Yeah, but he's a great magician. So we watched this, and
And then Tom Arnold told you stories for an hour.
then I told stories back.
Okay.
He asked
You
about,
mirrored him?
I mirrored him. We were talking all about Trump, and I pushed really hard, like I always do, to say that, fearing not, I become my enemy in the instant that I preached. That we must not resist Trump using any of the techniques he uses.
Right.
Anybody who says fight fire with fire, anyone says the end justifies the means, I think you have to say no. Donald Trump rallies an awful lot of hate, and the only way to counter that is with love and compassion. He does an awful lot of stereotyping, and the way to do stereotyping is for us to do individuals. And he does a lot of painting an us and them, and the best way to argue with that is to make us bigger. So the people that voted for Trump are part of the us. It's as simple as that. And they made that decision. Some of us made that decision to vote for Trump, and we are all together. There's 7 billion of us on this planet, and that's who we're dealing with. And 3 people who were imprisoned in North Korea no longer are. Of course, the millions that are there in North Korea are still in
all
prison.
people living there. Yeah.
That whole thing. Also, I just want to say, just in passing, that making a joke about John McCain dying seems okay to me. I think John McCain would, I shouldn't speak for John McCain. I don't know why I would. But if I were dying and someone were to say, David Copperfield were to say when I was on my deathbed, who cares what Penn thinks, he's dying? I think I laugh. Yeah, you're right, Dave. Don't worry about it. I'm going to be dead in no time. Not that that's the kind of thing Copperfield would say. I'm just saying a person who's in the same business as me. But the Tom Arnold show might be good. You know, crazy person chasing a crazy person, trying to find recordings. He also explained to me. I said that I did not believe there was a Russian prostitute P tape that was available because I said I tend to have automatic respect for people who are a little bit kinky sexually, and I think that Donald Trump is a boring vanilla sex guy. And I think that Stormy Daniels, who he allegedly had sex with, I think her report is that he's a dull person to have sex with, which all of my guesses about what I know about people, which is not much, is that he's a really dull sex guy. So I think that dull sex does not include. And then Tom Arnold said it's not a sex thing, it's a disrespect thing. It's because that was the bed that Obama slept in. I said, well, when you go up to disrespect, then I don't have any limits on Donald Trump, from what I know of him. I also know that Donald Trump, I also said, I repeated, which had been said many times, but it is a really bothersome fact. I don't think I ever heard Donald Trump laugh.
Right, that is frightening.
Even if funny, if someone else's misfortune, he will laugh. He will go like, oh, you sure got beat on that. Oh, you spelled Melania's name wrong on your poster for perfume. He'll do that. But it's a mirthless laugh.
It's mocking. It's not humor.
It's not humor. It's mocking is exactly what it is. Mirthless. No joy in it whatsoever. And I still remember with horror that when I did that PBS interview about Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, I was on the Donald Trump side. I mean, as knowing him, they said that they were doing this, elaborate, very, very full thing about both candidates, and they said their biggest problem was they couldn't find any friends of Donald Trump.
Right.
Wow. The idea that we have someone in the White House that doesn't laugh and doesn't have friends may be the scariest thing of all.
Those are frightening things.
Yeah, because, Obama laughs. Obama laughs from the bottom of his feet. He laughs in a way that forgets who he is. And Obama has friends. He has friends that love him and that he loves. And
you know what's funny? There are people listening to this show who confuse this for politics. And it is not about politics at all. It's only humanity.
Yeah. And George W. Bush, by the way. George W. Bush laughs his ass off. And George W. Bush has friends, good friends.
Right.
We can go all the way down the line. I think when we hit Nixon, we might get someone who, although I think Nixon got a good joke, but I'm not sure Nixon had friends. I don't know.
Right.
But it's creepy.
Well, I knew one, so he definitely did.
What's that?
I said I knew one, so he did.
You know a friend of his?
Yeah.
So did I. I think I did too, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. But Tom Arnold, I think his show's going to be pretty good. I think it's going to be a crazy show.
The Hunt for the Trump Tapes.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good name for it. The Hunt for the Trump Tapes. That's a good name for it.
It calls the series All the President's Men, Viceland, the cable network, calls the series a cross between All the President's Men and Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, he has that. He supposedly has access to amazing stuff, but I don't know what this accomplishes. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, exactly. How could it be worse?
Yeah.
Than some of the stuff we already know.
Everybody else in show business wants the day the clown cried
Yeah.
or died, and or Superman of Havana. Why is he? Why is he going after it?
Superman and Havana and the day the clown. Speaking of the day the clown cried, I get an idea. I want to see what you think of this. Jerry Lewis's estate is going up for auction.
Oh.
And one of the things they have for auction is a watch, a gold watch, that's inscribed in the back. You should probably find exactly what it is, but it's to my buddy Jerry, your pal Dino. A watch that that Dean gave Jerry. Now, I would think in 1975 or 1968 maybe, that would have gone for $1 gajillion. Now they're estimating that it'll go for 4,000 to 6,000,
What?
which almost seems reasonable. But as I was thinking about whether I wanted to bid on this watch,
Well, they expected to sell between $4,000 and $6,000. Wow.
and what is the inscription exactly?
Jerry, my buddy and pal, I love you, Dino.
Jerry, my buddy and pal, I love you, Dino. And what kind of watch is it?
It was given one to him by Dean Martin.
It doesn't say what
Doesn't say
brand.
what kind of watch it is.
Somewhere it says what brand it is, and it's a fairly expensive, nice watch. Not.
June 22nd at Planet Hollywood Casino and Resort is where the auction will be.
I was thinking, how funny would it be? Is this funny at all? For me to buy that exact make and model of watch and have it inscribed, Teller, my buddy and pal, I love you, Penn, and give it to him so that his estate has something they can auction off. What do you think? Is that funny?
Yeah, that's funny.
Funny. A gift to Teller that has nothing to do with Teller. A gift to Teller that will go to his, his descendants.
Right.
That they can auction that off. Would that
$4,000
be,
to $6,000.
is that funny?
Yes.
Well, I would not 4,000 to 6,000. Mine would be whatever the price of the watch is minus $50.
Yeah, it's a little scratch on the back. Almost looks like words.
Do we think that's funny?
That is funny.
Okay. You think I should do that, Randy?
Yes.
Now, you scared a guy away from our slot machine? You rat
did.
bastard? How'd you do that?
We have I'm working at Boulder Station now, which is not a Caesar's property, but they have put in a station of your slot machines in every casino.
Oh, really?
And the one in my casino is right outside the venue that I work. And I've been, I recorded the audio for it, but I've never seen it played. So I've been waiting for somebody to sit at it.
Don't say that. Nobody's sitting at it often.
No, he's wrong.
I'm there at weird hours because
yeah.
of I'm there for shows.
Okay.
And I finally caught a guy sitting there, and in my head I had built up this long speech about how I worked for you and I recorded the audio and do you mind if I watch you play? None of that came out. And I hovered over him for a second. And he kind of noticed me off the side, and I just said, do you mind if I watch you for a little bit? Didn't say a word. Just immediately leaned in, pushed the button to get his card out of it, and walked away the other direction.
Money out of my pocket.
Yep.
Randy. Money out of my pocket.
Sorry.
Well, you know that Jade, Piff's girlfriend, Jade Simone, who works in the Piff the Magic Dragon show, she's won thousands of dollars on our machine. Thousands of dollars.
I played it at the WinStar and lost $1.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to play, and I'm afraid if I did, just to see it, that it would.
They'd catch you.
They'd catch you.
Not that they'd catch me, that I'd ping it and hit the jackpot, and then everybody's mad at me, including you.
Yeah, exactly. But Jade Simone goes out. It's right in front of the Piff showroom at, where is he, at the Flamingo?
Yep.
Right outside the Piff showroom. She plays it, and she's like, it's incredible. She's like $4,000 up.
Wow.
And that includes the money she's put in. Taking away from that. She's all that money up.
Wow.
She's won. And how great is that?
That is great. I can't believe it.
Speaking of Piff, I guess I can talk about all this. Piff had an idea for a television program called Piff the Magic Dragon, an almost true story. That'll be set in Vegas. And Mike Armstrong, who writes for Stephen Wright, who won an Emmy, is a fabulous writer and crazy. I mean, a level of crazy even I call crazy. He leaves you in the dirt. They're ready for crazy. He's gone. Gone, Daddy, gone. Mike Armstrong's writing it with Piff, and I've also helped a little bit. And I am playing in the show. I am playing Penn, who is the one who brings Piff out, sees him on Fool Us, brings him out here. I'm playing myself. But I'm also playing Pop, Piff's dad. And the fictitious Penn in this show is the most wonderful person on earth, nice to everybody, loves everybody, except Pop, who he hates. So Piff has set up 4 pitches in L.A. for this. And Piff says that he and I are going to pitch in the dragon suits. Now, a very bad idea. Okay, you walk into a room to pitch a television show. It's already awkward and embarrassing, and you're a little dancing monkey. You want to be as close to the people in the room as you can. You want to be dressed like them. You want to talk like them. You want to be like, hey, we're going to do this project.
Back to the mirroring.
You're going to try to get them to give you millions of dollars and a time on their television network to show your show. So there's all sorts of, for people who pitch, you use superlatives. This is the greatest thing you're ever going to see.
Right.
And you try to make them be someone they want to work with and see. So Piff says, I think we should pitch in the suits. And I say, knowing all of this about mirroring, yes, we should. Now, Piff talks to his managers, agents, business people, and they tell him, no, you're not going to pitch in the suits. And Piff tells me, the grown-ups say we can't pitch in the suits. So I say to Piff, which is a insidious and heavy argument, I say you have to consider if their goals are the same as yours. Which is always the question you ask with managers and agents.
Right, of course.
Because it's always presented that their goals are the same as yours, but that sometimes it's a little bit skewed. You all want to sell the show, but it's a little skewed. I said to Piff, because if someone hates us in the dragon suits, they're not going to buy the show. Simple as that. No one's going to say, I would have bought this show if they hadn't come in the stupid dragon suits. If you're buying the show, you're buying the stupid dragon suits, right? But the agents and managers have to go in there with other people. So if this is incredibly awkward, miserable, and terrible.
That's true. They're going in a week later with somebody else pitching a different show.
Right. And if it's awkward, miserable, and embarrassing, which it could so easily be, it hurts their reputation. Why couldn't you keep your crazy clients in line? Why'd they bring this embarrassing situation coming in dragon suits? So I said to Piff, their goals are different than yours. Just so you know. Maybe you want to go with their goals. Because I said, if it's awkward in that room, it will be the most awkward experiences of our lives. We can't get out of the dragon suits quickly. We are in the room. We can't deny we're in the dragon suits. We've committed. There's no way out of this. It's not like I'm going to play this joke and the joke's going to be big and then we can backtrack. This is a big deal. So this is coming in full clown makeup we can't take off. And so Piff and I are there. We're meeting with the agents and the managers. And it's a small group going in.
Sure.
And the producers and so on. And
So you're there. You're in the suits.
no,
Is that...
no.
Okay.
Not suits.
All right.
We are there in the lobby of the big corporation, having gone through security.
TV Corp.
Yeah, Equicorp.
Equicorp.
We're in the lobby of Equicorp with the receptionists and so on, sitting in the uncomfortable but very stylish chairs around a thing there with the 10 TV screens showing all their
All their big hits.
all their big hits and posters up all over. We're sitting there, and we're discussing how the pitch is going to be. And one guy's saying, "We got our 3-minute sizzle reel, which I will go in and set up on our computer so it plays on their screen. We'll show the sizzles. I'll say a few minutes, and then I'll throw it to Piff.
Right.
And Piff, you will explain a little bit, tell about the dragon, how you got to the dragon thing, and then you throw it to Penn. And Penn, all you really have to say is you're behind the project. And also that Piff really is a good magician, one of the finest, because you can speak to that with authority.
Right.
That's all you got to say, really. And I go, okay. And then they say to Mike Armstrong, the writer, you're going to hit the arc of the whole season. You're going to hit a few of these points. We'll get there, and we're fine, and we're out. And by the way, I know these guys, they're really good. They'll be really receptive to this pitch. This is going to go really well. And Piff goes, yep, all set. And then Piff grabs the suitcase he has with him that everybody, I think, assumes he's going directly to the airport, which he was.
Right.
So he's got his luggage with him. He grabs a suitcase and says to me simply, "Come on." And he and I go into this big corporate restroom off the big corporate waiting area in the Equicorp Corporation. We go into a public men's room. He opens up the suitcase, and in it are 2 dragon suits. And we start taking our clothes off. We take our clothes off, we button up, put our hoods up, and we walk out of the restroom with an empty suitcase. No, not an empty suitcase, with our street clothes in the suitcase and in the dragon suits. And the receptionists go, kind of, their brow furrows. Then they laugh a little bit, and then we get over there, and Mike Armstrong and the producers and stuff go, I guess you're wearing the dragon suit. Biff says, yeah, guess we are.
What? Wow, that's fantastic.
And then we go into the room,
Right?
and
Everyone's incredibly uncomfortable.
no,
I'm sure it's the opposite.
they walk in the room, and it is delightful. It's just delightful and fun and giggly, and everything is just great. And then we do a very grown-up, serious pitch in the dragon suit. And I get a very nice, comfortable laugh because after they show the video and the one guy speaks and then Piff speaks, they throw it to me and I say, is anybody doubting my commitment? Which gets a nice, comfortable release. And we talk like grown-ups, and it's great. And they know they're in show business.
Right.
And they know that show business deals with people in dragon suits, and they're thrilled. And then I say to Piff afterwards, we've got 2 more of these today. And Piff goes, I'm staying in Dragon Man. So then Piff and I are walking down the street, because the car that we're going to get is a block away.
Yeah.
So we're outside of Equicorp, and there I am with my dear friend, Piff the Magic Dragon, and I am in a dragon suit. And it is a sidewalk with people going by and a light drizzle on top of everything else. And Piff and I are walking along with our big shoes in our dragon suit. And I turn to him and say, I love this so much, Piff. I love this so much. And he goes, yeah, you know, it's a good show. It might actually go. I said, no. I don't mean whether the show goes or not. I mean, I love walking down the street with my friend, and we're both in dragon suits. And Piff, who always, I mean, his resting face is a grumpy face,
Right.
gives me this like big, beautiful, loving
Right.
smile. And I walk a few more steps and I go, you know, Piff, this moment right here is why I left Greenfield, Massachusetts. And we take 2 or 3 more steps, and Piff goes, this is why I left England. And we get up to the car, and we go in, we crawl into the car, and he says, be careful not to slam your tail in the door. And I go, okay. And we ride to the next gig, get out, walk into the lobby now in full dragon suits. We are now loud and proud. We do 2 more pitches in the suits. Then the next morning, we have another pitch. We get up, because Piff had flown back to Vegas and
Right.
flown back in. We get up, we go to the thing, go into the men's room again, and we're suiting up again. It was so happy. And so
That's
I have no idea if we'll sell the show. I have no idea if we'll sell
Who
the show.
cares?
But you know, the truth of the matter is, the best pitch of your life done perfectly, you've got
Yeah.
10% chance?
Nothing.
If it's gone perfect.
Right.
If it's gone perfect.
I've done where they just laughed and howled and had a great time, and I've left going, oh, well, that's done. And it's just never happened.
No.
You know? I did one for Alton Brown. Alton Brown said, just a perfect show. This is the sequel to Good Eats. And they
Yeah.
never called back.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just how it is. It
It's
just
just
happens.
the way it should be.
There are a million other things involved other than the
Yeah.
pitch and the idea and
There's
you
a
know,
million
there's
other
schedules
pitches.
and
Yeah, there's all that stuff.
yeah, it's crazy.
But it was a great experience. Walking down the street with my friend Piff and Dragon
That's
Suit.
pretty great.
Did anybody hand you any money?
What's that?
Did anybody
No,
hand you any money?
we weren't out long enough for that, but it would have been great. My son had his birthday party
Oh, yeah?
yesterday. He's going to be 12
Right.
on May 22nd,
Mm-hmm.
and
Having the party a little early.
yeah, a little early because it timed out better
Right.
for his friends. And his friends came over. Then we all went to Excalibur, and they went to see I couldn't go because I had a show. But they went to see Joust. What is it called?
the dinner
dinner
show.
show.
Tournament of Kings.
Tournament of
Kings.
Kings.
But before that, they spent 2 hours in the arcade.
Wow.
Now, something interesting about the difference between my wife and me, she put to give the children quarters. It's quarters, it's not tokens. It's real
Right.
quarters. She put money in the machine, and then the money came out in quarters. She took her handful of quarters, and she divided the amount of money she put in by. She multiplied it by the number of quarters by 4. Then she counted the number of children we had. She divided it by that number and counted out the quarters into cups for each of the children.
Right.
What she didn't know was previously I had gotten the first load of children there in my car, and I'd gone in and I'd put more money into the machine. It all came out, and I just took handfuls and dumped them
Right, sure.
into the cups. Totally no
Yeah.
equality at all.
Yeah.
And perhaps with some favoritism. I believe Moxie got more quarters than the other children.
Right.
And one of the children I'm not as fond of got fewer. But it was pretty much random. And I just thought, there's the difference. Now, where do you fall in that pyramid?
Well, I'm with you on that. I'm absolutely just here's a handful of quarters, go have some fun.
Yeah. And then when they run out, you give them more.
Come back and get some more when you need them. That's, yeah.
But, now you're going, I'm going to try to cover everything here. You said this before we came on.
I did say this.
You said you did a time-lapse thing
Yeah.
that finally finished?
Yeah. For the last year, I have been shooting a construction project at the Railroad Pass Casino. Because I fly the drones, a friend of mine is a real estate agent. I called him up and said, hey, you need a drone pilot for your real estate business? And he said, well, actually, I bought a casino. I said, what the hell are you talking about? That can't be true. And he had. He bought the Railroad Pass Casino and said, I don't need the real estate drone, but I want a time lapse of a construction that I'm about to start. And so they're building a travel center there for trucks and Teslas and all that stuff.
Oh, Chargers? Stuff?
Yeah, Chargers
Where's
and
this?
a gas tank out at the Railroad Pass Casino between Vegas and Boulder City.
Okay.
It's right up there. There's a big casino on the hill there. And, he said, can you do a
On
time...
15?
On 95, 93. Or 11, I guess, is the new one they're building there, is what they call it. So he says to me, can you do a time lapse? And I said, hold on a sec. Type, yeah, I can do time lapse. Turns out you can buy time lapse cameras and set it up and get it done.
With a drone?
No, not with the drone. No. Just mounted. I climbed up on top of the casino and mounted one up on the roof, and then mounted one on a telephone pole up on top of a hill near there, and just climbed all over everything in the casino and
Just
put
put
up
up
cameras.
little GoPros.
Like GoPros, yeah. Like GoPros, but specifically designed for...
So they stayed there forever.
And they stay there forever. And I go back every 20 days or so and gather the data and put new batteries in them. Mm-hmm. And then as the construction progresses along, I move them to different spots.
And no one monkeyed with them?
Not really. A couple of them one of them blew off the roof of the casino at one point. Mm-hmm. Every now and then one of them would get bumped because when they got closer to the end, I put some inside the building.
I see.
And so people working on the ceiling would occasionally bump one, and I would lose a week's worth of footage because it would, some crazy angle or something.
And how often is it shooting? Shooting a frame every
minute.
frame every minute?
On the inside. Interior stuff's a frame a minute. Outside is one every 10 minutes.
Wow.
And it turned out beautiful.
Really?
It's just fantastic. I just finished editing it this morning, and I've combined it with shots from the drone flying around the property. And it's fantastic.
What did you do? You took the drone out every 2 weeks or something?
Yeah, every 2 weeks I go and I'd fly it around the area and get some more shots of people building stuff. I got a guy carrying a ladder across the parking lot, things like that. Just shots, just various shots, and then I just went and edited it all together.
It's done?
And it's done.
Did you get any shots of a guy running away from a Penn and Teller machine?
No.
And how
Nothing inside the casino.
this is a brand new casino?
No, it's a really old casino. It's one of the first casinos in Nevada.
And he's just sprucing it up?
And he's sprucing it up. Well, because they're building a new freeway up there. And there's not a really good gas station along the freeway for a long way in either way. So he decided he'd build that.
And he's got the Tesla hotspots?
He's got like 10 Tesla charging stations.
Oh, that'd be nice.
It's beautiful.
Where would you be going if you drove by this place?
Phoenix?
Okay. So it's Vegas to Phoenix?
Yeah, maybe. That's mostly, or Yeah, Phoenix probably mostly. But just anywhere on that area. Down
And
in,
how far do you have to drive out to do your stuff?
well, it's it's 20 miles from my house.
Oh,
so-
not bad at all.
No,
Oh, this is nice.
no, it's been a blast, and I get there. There's some. I've been on climbing up on the roof of the casino once every 2 weeks. Pretty great.
Yeah, with permission.
With permission, exactly.
And you're going to Hawaii?
I'm going to Hawaii. I'm taking my son for his graduation.
Now, it's on fire, dude.
I know, isn't that great? It's the perfect time to go. A lot of people would be freaked out.
But isn't there aren't they telling
excited.
people not to go?
We're actually going to be in Maui for most of the time. We're only going to spend a couple of days on the explosive island.
But isn't there some real danger there?
There's a little bit of real danger there. There's a little bit. I don't think that it's a huge amount of real danger. But, we had already planned on going before the volcano became active again. So
Now, what is the tourism? Is it higher or lower because of this volcano?
I presume it's lower. I know that the airlines were offering to refund everybody's money who has flights there.
Oh, really?
Or to offer changes without charging them fees.
But you could get there?
Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, I was very upset because my thinking is I bet the flights are cheaper now. I'd already bought tickets. Now that it might blow up and kill everyone.
And you're gonna visit our cephalopod guy?
I am going to visit the cephalopod guy now that I know that he's on that same island. That's fantastic.
He's
And
on
I'm
that island.
very excited about that.
He'll be a
I'm
friend.
going to go
of
to the
yours.
farm. I'm going to go to the octopus
He'll be a friend
farm.
of yours.
That's
He'll
great.
be a friend of yours.
I'm
There's no
looking
doubt
forward to
about
it.
it. He'll be a buddy.
What a blast.
We'll be having him on the show soon.
That'll be great. I'll bring him back with me.
Octopus farm. And on top, any other plans in Hawaii?
All kinds. Well, in Hawaii, no. Going to go surfing. Going to go kayaking and see the sharks.
You drag your son on all that?
My son loves all of that.
Surfing?
He hasn't been surfing yet. He likes boogie boarding. I wouldn't say body surfing, but boogie boarding. And last time we were there, we went out on kayaks onto the reef, and there were blacktip reef sharks swimming around us and flopping up out of the water and stuff because they were feeding. So it was really exciting.
They're not feeding on you.
No, they're not feeding on us. We're too big for them. But they're eating the fish. So it's beautiful, fantastic. Can't wait to go back.
Yeah, you like Hawaii.
I do. I know. I'm not. You break up with everybody you go to Hawaii with, so I'm glad you're not going with us.
I'm not thrilled.
My wife and I have been a couple of times and survived it.
Yep.
Survived the test
I'm
of
not
the pleasantness.
I'm not a big Hawaii guy. Not a big Hawaii
Sorry to hear that.
guy.
But also later this year, Mac King and I are doing a show in Cuba.
Now you still say Cuba, not Cuba?
I still say Cuba.
Okay.
Maybe it'll change.
Who's booking that?
It's a magic convention called Magic Cuba. Magic Cuba? Magic Cuba? I don't know. MAGICUBA.
And who's running it?
I don't know. Matt King asked if I would go.
They booked the two of you?
Yep. So we're doing a show together. They also I got an email from them a couple of days ago saying, would you be interested in doing a guest spot in the Cuban circus?
Oh,
I said, oh, you bet I would.
what are you going to do in the Cuban circus?
Juggle beanbag chairs and ride a unicycle.
Yeah. Cuba, huh?
I know. Isn't that exciting? No, you're not excited. You're not a traveler. You don't like that kind of travel. I am.
No.
I couldn't be more excited about it.
Really?
Yeah.
You like Cuba?
I think it's going to be interesting to go to Cuba.
Are you going like, you're not going like a lefto pinko.
No.
It's not going to be good there, I don't think.
I don't know.
I think it'll be poor and miserable, right?
Probably.
But you're going to be in
I'm kind of okay with poor and miserable as long as you have food and a roof.
You'll be in a rich person place, probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But I mean, that's the big problem. The difference between my wife and I on vacation is that I'm as happy going to Haiti as I would be to going to Hawaii, and my wife does not like that.
She wants it high class.
She would like, yeah. She doesn't want to hang around in mud huts and play dominoes.
So when you're going to Hawaii, you'll be staying in a nice spot.
We've rented a house, Airbnb. So, yeah.
You'll have a good time there.
We're gonna have a good time, and maybe I'll see our pal, the physicist. Remember?
Sure, Jared.
Yeah, Garrett.
Garrett
Lisi.
Yeah, Garrett Lisi.
So hopefully, I can track down Garrett.
Because he does a lot of surfing.
He does a lot of surfing. Yeah,
that's all he does, I think. Besides, the
physics. Yeah, solving all the world's physics problems. Those are big deals.
But you don't know anything about this. You don't know if this is magicians from the U.S. and around the world going to Cuba. This can't be for Cuban magicians.
I don't think it's for Cuban magicians. I think it's for Cuban travel. It's a cultural exchange is how they've booked the program.
But didn't Obama open up Cuba and then Trump close it off?
Right, but because this is a cultural event, it can go on. it can still go on. And I assume the people who want to go can go. So if anybody listening wants to go to Cuba and see a Godot and King show.
Who else is on the bill? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know anybody else on it.
And what is this?
Well, November 11th, 7th through the 11th.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're going to go either a few days early or a few days late and hang around.
You're going to bring Joy with you?
No, I'm taking my wife.
Oh, good. But she's, well, it'll be nice. It'll be nice.
Hopefully it'll be nice.
Yeah.
I think it'll be great.
Good place. What else you got coming up?
Well, the James Corden thing aired. You saw that.
Oh, yeah.
That turned out to be okay.
It was good.
People were nice. People said nice things about it.
Yeah, they did. Eating apples. And James Corden's a great guy, right?
I only talked to him on camera, so.
Oh, really? I have heard
no
nothing
idea.
but good about him.
He's, you know what? The backstage.
Oh, no, I'm crazy. I've not only heard good things about him, I've met him and liked him. Yeah.
Yeah, the backstage there was fantastic. It felt very casual and relaxed, and the band guys were there, and everybody was hanging out and having a good time.
Good snacks?
Pretty good snacks, yeah. Good sandwiches.
You were there to eat.
I was there to eat apples. I wasn't snacking much, not as much as one might hope.
So I finished up David Byrne's How Music Works.
Really, now you know?
Yeah, I do know how music works. Boy, it's a good book.
That's what you were saying. I read your review of it. It seems really exciting.
David Byrne writes beautifully, writes just beautifully, and so quirky, so odd. And he also discusses really what he's thinking with music, and some really profound points. And what David Byrne's obsessed with now, oddly, is mirror neurons.
Oh.
His next thing is going to be all about that.
Okay.
And he's working with magic and stuff. It should be pretty great. And I also finished this this book, 36 Arguments for God.
Right.
You heard of this book?
No.
The woman that wrote it is Steven Pinker's wife.
Oh, okay.
And she's a big philosophy person. I mean, real philosopher, like real philosopher.
Right.
You know, like
Unlike us.
unlike us. And she's also a MacArthur Genius Grant and all that.
Oh, good for her.
And she wrote this book that it's fascinating. In the middle of it, I thought it was going to be all kind of Mel Brooks Jewish jokes because she goes into this whole area of going into the like Hasidic community, like BJ used to be part of. She goes into that kind of Orthodox thing. And she does a lot of those kinds of jokes. But then it ends up being really, really profound and beautiful. What I thought about this book was it actually made the point of the Book of Mormon.
Yes.
Everybody talks about the Book of Mormon, Matt and Trey's musical.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
It's great.
Really makes fun of Mormonism. But the general view of it is that Mormonism makes people so good, it's okay to believe it. Right? It's kind of the point they make at the very end.
I guess.
Yeah. It's obscured. But that, I believe, is the point they make. And that's always made me uneasy with it.
Right, okay.
Because the thing is, I am not a epistemological hedonist.
Right.
I do not believe if it feels good, believe it.
Right. No,
I believe that things that don't make you feel good, if they are true, you should also believe them. And if believing something...
reality matters.
I think so. I really think so. And there is a point, and I don't want to, of course, put words in Matt and Trey's mouth. They make their points much better than I could ever make their points. And they're wonderful, wonderful guys, and the best among us. But I believe I disagree with the premise. There's such good surprises in 36 Arguments for God that I don't want to kill them. But she is writing... find out. I just blanked at her name. It's like it's
Mrs. Pinker.
Rebecca. I think it's like a name like Rosenbaum or something. Rebecca Rosenthal maybe. But 36 Arguments for God.
Goldstein.
That just shows. I hope that doesn't come off as microaggression anti-Semitism. But I'm bad with anybody's name, so forgive me. What's your first name?
Rebecca.
Yeah, And
sorry, I was still on the Magikuba page.
she's a really good writer, crazy good writer.
Well, Pinker.
And well, yeah, but you know, in the household of Stephen and Rebecca, she's the smart one.
That's great.
Just so you know.
That's fantastic.
You know, after reading Enlightenment Now and reading this, she's the smart one. Stephen Pinker, so much smarter
Married
than us. Yeah, he did marry up, no doubt about it. And Stephen Pinker's going to be on our show. He's going to do
That's gonna be
Sunday
fantastic.
School in November. And we maybe want to talk to Rebecca at some point, too.
That
I don't know
would
if
be
she's out at the same
great.
time. But it's a really good book. And I don't want to sell the book short by saying this great thing about it. It's a wonderful novel, and it explores some intellectual, emotional, theological ideas that are really, really, really important. And she makes an argument that is so profound and hits you in the face like a baseball bat. It's pretty great. There's a lot to think
Right.
about. That having been said, the protagonist in the book is a man who's just written a book called 36 Arguments for God. And he's an atheist who goes through the 36 major arguments for God and then refutes each one of them. That's his book. And within the book, that book's the New York Times bestseller, and part of it is hitting academia.
So this is a story.
Yeah,
A novel.
it's a novel. Yeah.
Okay.
He is, in this book, he is, from some people, getting less respect because he's no longer a pure academic. He's now been on talk shows and stuff.
Right. He's populist.
Selling this pop book, 36 Arguments for God, which he actually refutes every one of them, and he's one of the new atheists. So she's writing a book kind of about Dawkins
Right.
and Lawrence Krauss,
Yeah.
and in a certain sense, Stephen Pinker, and a bunch of those guys
Right, what you know.
who get famous by attacking religion. That's kind of what it's about. But then the appendix, and I'll tell you, when you're reading it electronically, the book ends before the appendix. It pops up and goes, how many stars you want to give this book? You know, you're finished reading it. And then there's the appendix, which is 15% of the book. And she goes through, and I don't want to, I'm not in any way playing down the novel, because the novel is great, and the novel you should read on its own just because of that.
Right.
But then, in the appendix, she does the 36 Arguments for God. And she breaks them down, and they're all arguments that you've heard, and she lays them out beautifully. She makes these arguments really without, as far as I can tell, without prejudice.
Right. As convincing as she can.
As she can. She breaks it down in a very clear way, and then she refutes each one of them, which is, of course, precisely what the book is within the book. And she refutes them in strict philosophical terms,
Right.
and also a little bit of colloquial stuff thrown in, like this is the way David Hume handled it. This is the exact way you
She's
refute
doing
it.
Cyrano.
Yeah. And then at the end of that, she'll also go, of course, this comic said it better this way. You know, puts in little colloquial stuff. But it's really, really good and a great book. And I got about halfway through and kind of went, this is just stand-up-y stuff about the Hasidic community. It's good, but who cares? And I had about one page of saying that, and then she set up what she's doing, and then she just starts, boom, 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 beating you. And I heard a little bit of her on Sam Harris's podcast.
Okay.
She is a wonderful speaker. Here's what I'm trying to say to you. You know, I have a huge crush on Stephen Pinker. You know that Stephen Pinker controls my life.
Yes.
Everything he says is absolutely true, and I absolutely love him, think he's the best of all. Well, I may be shifting to his wife. She may be better.
Did you warn him?
She may be better than him. She may be better. She has this really rigorous philosophical background that I love, and she can put it in terms that even I can understand. And that's a really potent combo. And she also has some digs in there about the guy who's writing about optimism and how the world's getting better. There's a few little
Right.
take a little side swipe at the hubby.
Yeah. The day he didn't make lunch for the kids.
But I should be fair. I believe she does not use the word husband or marriage. I believe she uses the word partner
Okay.
in her thank yous.
Sure.
And I should probably use what they use. So I should say I'm going to go back and say, Go back. You don't have to edit this. Go back in your heads, everybody. Every time I said Steven Pinker's wife, say Steven Pinker's partner.
That's a good.
Because I believe that, and I should learn to do that terminology anyway. I should grow up into the 21st century and be more respectful. But it takes me a while to learn. Sometimes I don't. But I'll tell you, David Byrne. I've been on a roll. David Byrne, How Music Works. Enlightenment Now, Steven Pinker. 36 Arguments for God.
Where do you find this time? How do you manage your time?
I get home from the show, and I sit in a rocking chair, looking out over Vegas, and I read for about an hour. Then I take a really hot bath where I read for another half an hour. Then I usually read another half an hour and then go to sleep.
Wow.
So I read a couple hours a night.
That's great.
And I usually have, some of that is poetry. I'm still reading the Jack Gilbert poetry book. Jack Gilbert Kills Me Dead. The Wallace book. I keep reading the 13 Ways to Look at a Blackbird over and over again.
Right.
I know everybody knows that's a great poem, but I'm reading it over and over. And the Jack Gilbert book. What's that?
It's the same time that you're not going. It's a time you're saving from not going to volcanic islands.
Yes, exactly. I'd much rather. Oh, give me a choice of seeing that lava flow.
Right. I think we agree.
Yeah.
We agree. Both of our sides win.
And the other book I just started, which you're going to be hearing a lot about, is this book by Jonathan Rauch. Mm-hmm. We know and love Jonathan Rauch. Been on the show. We're going to have him on the show again. We've got to.
Absolutely.
Man, is he a good writer. And I put this in the Charles Bukowski category.
Okay.
Charles Bukowski writes about shit I do not care about. Mm-hmm. Getting drunk, desperation. Man, I hate all the subjects of Charles Bukowski's writing, but he's such a good writer. I read Charles Bukowski. And Jonathan Rauch's new book, I had no interest in the subject whatsoever, but I love him so much. I love him as a person, and I love his writing that I read. It's called The Happiness Curve. And it's all about the dip in happiness in people's late 40s, early 50s. And there's this dip in happiness that, in the aggregate, is universal. Mm-hmm. Now, he spends, 3 or 4 chapters making clear that this is not going to be for every individual.
Sure.
But there's all this study that says once you hit 60, you get happier. And you get happier right up until your health fails badly. Even with your health failing, you stay happy. Mm-hmm. And people that are happy, like Michael Goudot, get happier.
Well, even better.
And people who are sad get happier. There seems to be, and it also transfers directly into other apes.
Really?
At that point in their life, there is, from what the people can tell, the zookeepers, there is a dip in happiness. Mm-hmm. When you are in your 40s and 50s, a lot of people experience no reason for it. They're successful, they love their families, they're in good relationships, but they're just saying, maybe I should quit and run away. It's what used to be called very sloppily midlife crisis.
Yes.
But they found it in every single, but this is also getting into hedonics, which is fascinating. Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad. I love Jonathan Rauch. I have this feeling with, I found this, with Nichols and Baker, who I'll read anything by. When I was younger, when the new Beatles record came out, I bought the new Beatles record. I didn't wait to see, is this new Beatles record?
What's the title of it? Yeah.
I bought the new David Bowie record when it came out.
Right.
I bought everything Dylan did, everything Lou Reed did. And when they would do stuff that was experimental, that would not have been to my taste, they took me with them.
Right.
And Jonathan Rauch is doing that in this book.
Nice.
He also has some studies, which I said to, I wrote to Cray Ray. Yeah. And I said, I've been reading this book. Would you like to see the raw data on this? Because I bet Jonathan has it. And you could see Ray Cronice jumping out of the computer screen going, I'd love to see that. And I wrote to Jonathan Rauch, who is a very careful journalist. He's a beautiful writer and a very careful journalist. I kind of knew he had the raw data at his fingertips because he says in there, talking about all the hedonics and the hedonic treadmill and all of that, he talks about the fact that people, the more vegetables and fruit that they eat, the happier they are. Now, they don't know, correlation is not causation.
Right.
But the wacky thing is, it goes up by servings. If you eat 2 servings of fruit and vegetable a day, if you eat 3, you're happier. And it goes all the way up to 7 servings, which is constantly eating fruit and vegetables. So, Michael Goodell,
Yeah,
you're eating nothing but fruit and vegetables, and
It
you're
is
about to
true.
turn 60.
it is true.
You're going to be just
Next year's going to be great.
It's going to be really great, really great. And you got a family. You're
Things
doing
are good.
You're going to be doing fine. But I'm going to talk to Jonathan Rausch and ask him
Let's
if he
get
wants
him back on.
because you remember he wrote Unkindly Inquisitors.
Yeah.
Kindly
Just
Inquisitors.
kindly.
Kindly Inquisitors. That I'm going to that I read the book, the recording of the book, and I got to get him on for this. He's just a
That'd be
wonderful writer.
fantastic.
And then Nadine Strawson has written a book of why hate speech should be counted with more speech, and hate speech should not be suppressed.
Right.
Which, as Rebecca writes the heavy-duty philosophy stuff, Nadine Strawson writes real legal stuff. And, of course, she refers to Jonathan Rausch all the time. But, man, when Nadine Strawson writes, she is not fucking around. This is not like, hey, Penn, let's have a cup of coffee and we'll make jokes about free speech. No. Nadine Strawson, you are not playing with children when Nadine Strawson is writing. You are reading hard. And if you are like me, you are touching a word a page, saying, wonder what that
Wonder
means.
what that one means.
And you're going to Wikipedia all the time going, oh, I guess I'm supposed to know this court case from the 40th Supreme Court because I don't. I will check this and check it out. And it's a beautiful book. So I usually have 5 or 6 books going, and that is the roundup of books I'm reading. But 36 Arguments for God, pretty good one. By Goldman?
Goldstein.
Goldstein. Boy. Al Goldstein.
Rebecca.
Old Al Goldstein. I love Al Goldstein. Why can't I remember that? Rebecca Goldstein. Took me forever to learn the name Steven Pinker. I had Pinker quick. Steven took me a while. You know, I'm terrible with names. But those are the books I'm reading, and those are the things I'm enjoying, and that's what we're doing. And Director's Cut is out. And you should be able to find it on iTunes or
Be able
somewhere.
to download it and
if you
watch
want to
it
see
at home pretty soon.
my weird ass movie, you can see that. Gambler's Ballad, The Legend of Johnny Thompson.
Fantastic.
My documentary. You just watched it.
I did. Fantastic. Really beautiful.
That is available on Showtime, and soon it'll be on demand. That movie is for everyone, by the way.
Right.
Gambler's Ballad is for everyone. Director's Cut, not for everyone. And what else we got going on?
World of Concrete and DEF CON, both of those groups.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Play into that crowd.
Yeah. Anything else? Anybody got?
Nah, we're good.
That was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Cha cha cha.
And to our listening ears,
You become naked.
sang and round us rang the music of the spheres. And was
Did I say something that was maybe quotable early on? We called the show. Remember what it was? I thought of it when we said it.
No.
It was about Tom Arnold. That was the last show. Then we start out with his show. Remember? We did start out
Not
with
with
Tom
Tom
Arnold.
Arnold.
Yeah.
Tom Arnold and Donald Trump.
Yeah, maybe Tom Arnold, Donald Trump, and me, whole lot of crazy. That's what we'll call it. And we know I love you.
Bye, everybody.
Why'd you hand him a piece of paper? Did I forget to do something?
We just